Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. John Bush here with Live Free Academy and the Live Free Now show. And today we have a very special broadcast for you. Man, there's a lot going on in the world, and I don't know about you, but I have really been feeling not worried per se, but just a new sense of urgency to double down on my own exit and build efforts to secure the resilience, security, preparedness of my family, and then also as an activist, as a leader, as an activator, to do everything I can to help my community to achieve greater independence, financial sovereignty, prosperity, freedom, community. Man, it's going nuts. It's going nuts. So maybe you're joining me here today from the Live Free Academy newsletter. We've been promoting this stream. I am going to share a bit about our new Live Free Academy Accelerator membership program. I've been doing Live Free Academy since April 2021. Have been doing activism for 22 years. Been teaching people, educating people, number of different organizations, nonprofits, businesses, and I do strongly believe we finally dialed it in on how we can best serve our community through the work that we're doing. So I'm going to break down exactly what this accelerator program is all about. And I do want to encourage folks, you can head over to livefreemembership.com to check it out, livefreemembership.com. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you, livefreemembership.com. The accelerator, here it is right here. So, of course, you'll gain more freedom and prosperity outside of the government, corporate, and central bank control in the next 12 months than the previous 12 years combined. That's what it's all about. Again, you can check it out there, livefreemembership.com. But I do want to encourage you to join. If you join now, you'll be able to get the Zoom link, because as soon as we wrap up with this transmission here, we're going to be going to a usually it's about a 1.5 hour session. It's going to be a crypto empowerment session. We're also calling it John's Crypto Office Hour. So part of the membership, every month I will be breaking down some tips and some tools and insights, but it'll also give you the chance to ask questions. Ask questions about anything going on in the crypto world, any questions you may have as you're getting on board and all that stuff. So again, if you purchase before we wrap up this stream here, then you will be able to join us for that session. But I got a lot of ground to cover, but one thing that I do want to share, shout out to everybody watching there on YouTube, and we did just broadcast live to x.com, so thanks everybody that's tuning in there on x.com. I was actually on X last night when the news came across the feed. In fact, let's just go check it out, because it's still popping up all over the place, as you can see. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter or not, but yeah, this is actually from the U.S. attorneys. Here we go. Check it out. The Southern District of New York. They're always meddling in crypto stuff. The Southern District of New York is. But check this out. So as you can see, the founders and CEO of cryptocurrency mixing service arrested and charged with money laundering and unlicensed money transmitting offenses. Okay? They're talking about Samurai Wallet, which was a wallet that I, in fact, used. This is what happens when you go to the Samurai Wallet website. They have a press release there. Apparently, they're not happy about Samurai Wallet being used by undesirables, by Russian oligarchs, apparently, by folks that were doing illegal dark market web markets such as Silk Road, Hydra Market, web server intrusion, spear phishing schemes to defraud multiple decentralized finance protocols. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there are criminals that are using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but I tell you what, there's far more criminals that are using the United States dollar to engage in money laundering and their illicit activities. And in fact, there are criminal elements within the government, or maybe the entire government is just organized crime, as Howard Lichtman says. But this was just a big eye-opener for me. We all knew this was happening. We knew that the government and governments all across the world, government here in the U.S., the EU especially, is ahead of the curve on this front. We knew that they were working to take out privacy enhancing tools within Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are already private by default. This is all in preparation. It's a response to cryptocurrency growing and proliferating throughout the interwebs and the communities of free people. But it's also a clearing of the way to roll out the central bank digital currencies. And it's my belief that the central bank digital currencies were always something that the powers that wish they were the predator class wanted to pull off. And I think that they had to accelerate their plans because Bitcoin and stable coins, for example, those are cryptocurrencies pegged to the US dollar, they just came on the scene and started growing and growing and growing. And they're like, well, we can't have this competing with what it is that we're aiming to do. We want to create a controlled, surveilled digital currency. And it's going to be harder for us to do that if a bunch of people are using this sovereign, decentralized cryptocurrency. So this was to be expected, but just how it's popped off right away is definitely concerning. Oh, boy. Check it out, Sparrow Wallet, actually. So Sparrow Wallet, you got Whirlpool. I'm sorry, there's a technology called Whirlpool, and it does what's known as coin mixing, where people's transactions essentially are taken and jumbled up together, to put simply, and it obscures the trail of the transaction. So on the Bitcoin blockchain, for example, it's all transparent. And so this address sends Bitcoin to this address. That can be seen on the Bitcoin blockchain. Well, in order to obfuscate that, there's a certain technology called CoinJoin, where your transaction, unspent transaction outputs, little bits that compile a transaction from previous received transactions, they're all jumbled together and sent. It obscures the transaction history. And this technology, Whirlpool, was part of the Samurai Wallet. It was also part of Sparrow. But as we can see with Sparrow Wallet, they just announced, in light of recent developments, Sparrow version 1.90 has been released, which removes the Whirlpool client and other Soroban-related features. All wallets and accounts are still accessible. So this is a big blow for privacy on Bitcoin, and it definitely motivates me to lean heavier into using Monero more often and helping to educate people about Monero. Now the point is, I know that there's some folks, because I always try to anticipate like how people are responding to things and what arises within some folks in my audience when they hear this type of story. And so maybe there's two camps. There's a group of people that hears this and they say, well, maybe I shouldn't have got involved in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, or maybe I won't get involved in cryptocurrency now. It sounds like they're going to shut it down, they're going to regulate it, they're going to control it. Really, I'm just not going to dip my toes in the water. I got a false sense of hope from some of the stuff John and other people were saying in the past. I believe that that is the incorrect view. I believe the right way to go about this, the right way to respond to this, is the other camp. Well, this only adds more fuel to my fire and strengthens my resolve, leading me to better understand the importance of decentralized, especially decentralized privacy-based cryptocurrencies. Because ladies and gentlemen, if you fall in this camp and you're like, I don't know what to do, it sounds like they're trying to come after Bitcoin and they're trying to control and regulate, then you're basically just waving a white flag and accepting a future of central bank digital currencies. Now, mind you, of course, we all should be meeting with local people in person, building those tight-knit relationships, trading amongst ourselves, barter, our own little small micro economies, maybe gold, silver, whatever. I got a dozen eggs, you got a gallon of milk from the goat, or what, that's a lot of milk from a goat, but what, you know what I'm saying, right? That's important too, but face it, let's not be naive. We do business with one another online, and if we're going to continue to do business with one another online, we're going to need to learn these tools, and we're going to need to learn them and navigate them, employ them, and deploy them in a manner that is immune to these controls that are being implemented. And so that's a big reason why we're rolling out this accelerator program, the Live Free Academy Accelerator Program, because I recognized a while back, we do a lot of courses and workshops. My most recent one was the Bitcoin Basics for Boomers and Beginners workshop, my most recent cryptocurrency one. Then I did one about communities. We did a health summit. But I recognized that there's a lot of people that will take the workshop, or maybe they buy the workshop and don't even take it. And they are left kind of feeling like, well, I hit this little snag and this all made sense, but I tried to do this and it's in my particular jurisdiction that we can't do that, whatever it may be. I realize that it's up to me to provide ongoing support to folks. Ongoing support, because that's what's needed in order to continue, in order to make this work, because things are constantly changing. I mean, we got to face the facts. The crypto space changes rapidly, and not only does the crypto space, but the government's response to the crypto space. It's kind of like an arms race, like Russia and the United States during the Cold War, as though the Cold War ever ended. It's like, we got to do this. We're deploying things over here. There's geopolitical implications, and now we're all skirmishing in the Middle East, and the Soviet Union's in Afghanistan, but then the U.S. was in Afghanistan because it's a strategic stronghold, and we're dabbling with Syria and all sorts of nonsense, right? That's kind of what's happening with encryption, cryptography, cryptocurrency, counter economics, and the government trying to roll out their CBDCs. It's like a chessboard, and it's a competition going on between the free people wanting to exchange freely amongst themselves, people that have rejected government authority and see that it's a fraud, and they may still have some of their fingers or their feet in the door, but they're slowly but surely exiting, and then people that just for some reason think that they have a right to control every single aspect of your financial life. Shame on them. Screw them. The point is, if we don't dabble in this world, then we're going to completely be consumed by the control grid. It's going to be inevitable. And that's why I think this accelerator program is so valuable, because it's going to allow me to stay in contact and stay up to date, help my clients stay up to date on everything they need to know, navigating this treacherous battle that we're involved in. And believe you me, I wish that we didn't have to bother with any of this. We could just live our lives, relax. But the predator class is hell-bent on erecting their new world order, and it's not a future I want my kids to grow up in. So I'm doing everything I can and everything in my power to help awaken a sleeping giant. And I recognize there's a lot of folks that are more well-established. They didn't grow up with technology, so it's a struggle. So I'm doing everything I can to help those people to learn this technology, and also help younger folks to just begin using this technology for money. Let me break down some of the features here. Oh, forget that there. Let me break down some of the features. I'd love for you guys to come check this out. Again, it's livefreemembership.com. Let me add that there in the YouTube chat, livefreemembership.com. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I see we got some folks checking us out live on X and live on YouTube. Let me know where you're coming in from. So check it out, guys. Here's everything that comes with this membership. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them there in the chat. If you're somebody that's coming from the Live Free Academy daily email newsletter, we've been promoting this for the past week or so. We just launched it 2 days ago. You get the Exit and Build activation plan. And that's really what I want to talk about when we say building the sovereign world order, a vision for 2030. The Exit and Build activation plan. This will be a course that we work through together. I'll be dropping lessons as the months go on. This course will essentially break down the strategy that's being employed against us and teach you how to implement your own Exit and Build activation plan. You see, the idea is that coming up in 2030, the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, they have everything mapped out. They have an agenda for 2030, and they want to push that agenda through at breakneck speed. And the problem is, a lot of people within our freedom community do not have their own plan. They're playing catch up. They're in reactionary mode. And that is not a good place to be, because if you don't have your own plan, then you're going to be carrying out somebody else's plan. And chances are many of the people that are watching this right now have been doing that for the past several decades. It's all engineered, this world that we're living in. But we, the free people, if we take responsibility for our lives, if we recognize that we're in control of our destiny, if we have a plan and we constantly work towards that plan, then we can prevail and we can create greater freedom for ourselves. I promise, guys, I've done it in my life. I'm not totally free, 110% sovereign, but in spite of increasing tyranny and technocracy spreading all around me, I've never been more free. Tell you what, sometimes I'm a bit exhausted, maybe need a little bit more of a vacation, or at least a vacation that I'm not working. But other than that, life's good, and we're beginning to really insulate ourselves from this beast system. And that's what the Exit and Build Activation Plan is all about. I'll be fine-tuning my activation plan along with you, and by the end of the program, you will have a concrete, detailed, step-by-step plan with goals, objectives, action items that you can implement in your life in order to take control, in order to exit this beast system. Right? On top of that, we got an online community, right? So I'm going to be there providing support. I'm going to be there teaching regular master classes, which is the next feature, but there's also an online community. We built this really cool platform where people can tap into this community and support one another. There's a variety of different groups that you can be a part of, finding people that have common interests, common objectives. So really excited about that. There'll be new monthly master classes that we do each month. The first one coming up, I'm going to teach people how to consolidate unspent transaction outputs. This is something that I recognize is of the utmost importance, but I recognized it after we wrapped up the Bitcoin Basics workshop, which I think was September of last year, October of last year. It was something that I was aware of, how these unspent transaction outputs work on Bitcoin, but afterwards, when it became clear that the block size is being throttled and there's all this new money coming into Bitcoin and the ETFs got approved and the demand spiked, and then we had the recent halving, and for a period, even still to this day, the fees were absolutely exorbitant. So exorbitant. They're lower than they are right now, but I mean, come on, $6.91 for Bitcoin fees, 77 Satoshis. It was just recently way higher. So here's the implication for this. Check it out. I'm just going to give a quick little explanation. And I'm actually going to break this down a little bit further when we do our empowerment session. So if you're just joining us, I want to remind you, if you join the Accelerator program right now, you'll get the welcome email, and it'll include a Zoom link. Coming up at noon o'clock, 12 o'clock Central, here in about 40 minutes, we are going to be going to our crypto empowerment session, which will be the first John's Crypto office hours. So part of the membership is I'll regularly be, every single month, I'll be opening time to chat with you, to coach you, to help support you in your crypto and alternative investment journey. So excited about that. But here's this unspent transaction output. Whenever you receive a transaction from someone, or if you're like dollar cost averaging and you're transferring it to your wallet regularly, every single one of those transactions that comes into your wallet sits in your wallet as what's known as an unspent transaction output. Whenever you send a transaction from your wallet to someone else, it compiles those unspent transaction outputs. So let's say somebody sent you a tenth of a Bitcoin, a tenth of a Bitcoin, a tenth of a Bitcoin, a tenth of a Bitcoin. You have 4/10ths of a Bitcoin. And you wanted to send 0.3 Bitcoin to somebody. Your wallet would take these 3/10 unspent transaction outputs, compile them into a input, and then send it to the other person. And in their wallet, they would now have a 0.3 Bitcoin unspent transaction output. Okay? That's what an unspent transaction output is. Now, whenever it comes to the transaction fee is actually based on the data size of the transaction. How much data goes into that transaction? So if you had a 10th Bitcoin unspent transaction output and you want to send someone a 10th of a Bitcoin, that's a relatively low amount of data. But if you had a bunch of small fractions of Bitcoins, 0.0059, 0.00032, 0.0 blah, 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 that ends up being a bigger transaction size and costing more money. Now, if you have a bunch of small unspent transaction outputs, in your wallet, 0.00001 or whatever, 20 bucks worth, 50 bucks worth, you could find yourself in a position where those unspent transaction outputs are unspendable. I just realized, just to make it real simple, I should have said this right off the bat. The worry that I have is as the transaction fees increase and as the price of Bitcoin increases and as there's more demand to use the blockchain, you could end up with smaller amounts of Bitcoin that are unspendable and unsendable on the blockchain. There's a way to overcome that. It's called consolidating unspent transaction outputs. And just to illustrate the importance of the membership that I'm putting together and why I think it's so valuable, I had this eureka moment because I'm giving people advice in a workshop that's like enshrined in time. Let's go back to April 2021, the very first workshop that I did, where I taught people to set up a Coinomi wallet. Coinomi was my favorite wallet at the time. It's a multi-wallet. It's non-custodial. And it's easy to use. That's why I like to teach beginners on it, because most of the people I teach are beginners. Although with the membership, we're going to be doing a lot more intermediate stuff as well. Like setting up our own Bitcoin node, for example, and our own Monero node. That's going to be fun. That'll be fun for me, too. I'll be learning how to do that. I've never done that before, but we'll be bringing on experts to assist us with that. But I encourage people to set up Coinomi wallet, April 2021. I thought it was the best wallet. But one thing that I do is I teach from principles. So, of course, when I taught people to set up the Coinomi wallet, I said, but you got to be aware, there could come a day when the developers of this wallet, the people that maintain the software, they're no longer around. They quit, their company went under, whatever, and the software could get buggy. That's why it's so important that you properly back up your wallet by writing down your seed phrase. And sure enough, fast forward 3 years or so, and the developers are no longer maintaining the wallet. It doesn't connect to the Monero network, for example. There's some bugs here and there, right? So thankfully, again, I teach from principles. So the principles remain timeless, like not your keys, not your coins. You should hold your Bitcoin in a self-custodied wallet, especially a larger amount of Bitcoin in a self-custodied wallet. Same thing with Monero, for example. Principle doesn't change, but what does change is Coinomi is a great wallet. You should set it up. But no longer would I recommend Coinomi because it's no longer being supported and updated. Now I recommend Exodus. Maybe someday that will change. My point is, I do not feel like I'm serving my clients at the highest level to simply have this one-off course. They take the course. Maybe some people don't even take the course, as I said before, as we've discovered here. We're going to do everything we can to be better coaches and leaders and motivators, taking responsibility for that, right? Successful people take responsibility for everything. So what can I do as the leader of this company, as an educator, to help ensure implementation? Well, in the membership, we're going to be doling out little Bitcoin Cash rewards. We're going to be recognizing and honoring people. Anyway, I believe I can serve my clients to the highest level by continuing to have ongoing support with them, monthly support, engagement in the community that we've built on our new online platform, as opposed to someone coming into my world, taking a workshop, and then a year or two goes by and there's something that really needs to be updated. They need to change. I need to stay in touch with you because not only are things changing in the crypto space, as I shared at the beginning of this thing, like the Coinomi wallet isn't being updated, but things are changing on the government. They are coming after all this stuff, guys, and it doesn't mean that we need to throw in the towel and admit defeat and cede over control of this entire crypto blockchain space to the BlackRocks. No, ladies and gentlemen, it means we need to redouble our efforts, and I want you to know that I'm here for you. I'm here to support you in this endeavor, and I believe this accelerator program that we put together is the best way I can do just that. Right, so you get new monthly master classes. I'll teach you about consolidating unspent transaction outputs. We're going to talk about decentralized finance here pretty soon. We're also going to talk about Monero. You get the monthly crypto empowerment sessions, John's office hours. If you're coming in and you're considering the membership, I highly encourage you to pull the trigger right now, because here coming up shortly, we are going to start our first empowerment session. That's at 12 Central in 30 minutes. We included some courses, some tips, tactics, and strategies on crypto, investments, permaculture, all sorts of stuff. There'll also be exclusive in-person meetups, like we'll be doing one at our property one of these days. There's also a special private session with Joel Salatin for members at the Exxon Build Land Summit. We'll have an essential knowledge base as well. The first thing that we launched is a wallet guide, a review for wallets. There's discounts on in-person events, and then you do get Bitcoin Basics for boomers and beginners as an exclusive bonus. That normally costs $297 retail. This is the value of that, right? We put all this stuff together. The total value is $11,463. I mean, this stuff's going to completely blow you away, right? But of course, we're not going to charge you $11,463. We're actually going to offer the membership for only $97 a month. But so that would be $1,164. But if you join us for this beta launch, as we're getting things going, as we're launching, as we're rolling out the courses, we're actually giving you the chance to purchase 1-year membership at 50% off for $582. Okay? Again, the website is livefreemembership.com. livefreemembership.com. I hope that you'll join us. Like I said, if you go purchase right now, you'll have a Zoom link in your welcome email so you can join us for the Bitcoin empowerment session, the crypto empowerment session, John's office hours, which is coming right up. Things are getting nuts out there. There's massive protests erupting on college campuses right now. If anybody's been following this, that's the hot thing on Twitter right now. What happened with Samurai Wallet developers getting arrested by the Department of Justice, and then all across university campuses, including down the street, down in Austin, Texas, at University of Texas, massive pro-Palestinian protests taking place, and the Department of Public Safety and the law enforcement are cracking down hardcore. It's heating up again. Remember how heated things were during all the George Floyd protests and the lockdown protests? That same energy is coming up again right now. You can feel it. And on top of that, there's like hardcore risk in the Middle East with Israel and the Gaza Strip and Iran and Syria, and then you got Russia and Ukraine. It's just really pretty wild, and I recognize it can be overwhelming for people, and a lot of anxiety can arise within folks. But I want you to know one thing that's helped me to stay on point is to have a plan. And that's the core piece of our membership, the Exit and Build Activation Plan. I assure you, the more that you build, the more that you withdraw consent, the more that you withdraw your attention from the media, from the news, from the alternative media as well. You take your focus away from all the fear, alternative media, clickbait headlines, and you move over to, I'm going to hang out with some freedom people. I'm going to find some freedom people in my area. I'm going to reconnect with my family. We're going to grow our food together. We're going to get the kids together. We're going to go to the shooting range, learn to defend ourselves better. We're going to pull our money out of their banks so we don't feel so anxious. I'm not saying pull all your money out of the banks, whatever. Do the inside-outside game, which is something we teach in the accelerator. But we need to be better prepared. And the thing to note is if you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed, the more that you work on yourself, the more that you work in the garden, the more that you go to the gym, the more that you get healthy, the more free you will be. So again, they want to get you distracted, they want to get you afraid, fearful, but I promise you, you can overcome all of that by working towards greater freedom, by ignoring all the nonsense distractions, and by coming up with a plan and working that plan. Because when you do so, you put yourself in a proactive place as opposed to being reactive all the time. You become proactive as opposed to reactive. And this is the lifestyle of an activator, of somebody that takes responsibility for their own lives. Okay, folks, so again, they got this new world order they're putting together. It's a top-down hierarchical control grid. The money is a huge part of it. The money, controlling and surveilling every single one of your financial transactions. We have tools at our disposal, but that space is changing rapidly, and you got to play your cards right in order to ensure that you're okay. And so I want to encourage you guys to consider what we're doing here at the Accelerator membership. There are two main focuses that we have at Live Free Academy. Number one is building the counter economy. Building the counter economy. Connecting with other freedom lovers, working outside the system, trading amongst ourselves, taking proactive steps to withdraw our funds and our monies from their banking system, right? Entrepreneurship, having a side hustle, that's a huge focus we have. And the other piece is getting a piece of land, homesteading, and getting the heck out of the city. And even if you don't move all the way out of the city, try to be on the outskirts, or at least have an escape, maybe a piece of property, a bug out spot that you go in on and buy with some friends. So that's another focus that we have with the Live Free Academy and everything that we're offering. And that'll be another focus that we're doing for the Live Free Academy Accelerator Program. So again, folks, we're going to be wrapping up here just a second to give me some time to prep. Coming up at noon o'clock, we're going to be doing our first crypto empowerment session, John's Crypto Office Hours. I'll be breaking down the latest on Sparrow, on Samurai Wallet, what that means, the implications for we, the free people that are trying to use cryptocurrency privately. We'll be answering some questions from folks that took the Bitcoin Basics workshop and see any snags that they've hit. But to reiterate, we launched this program just 2 days ago. We just have a 3-day window. If you want to take advantage and join our annual membership, we're going to be putting a lot of energy into this. It's going to be the focus of our company. I highly encourage you to head over to livefreemembership.com. That's livefreemembership.com. And from there, you'll be able to learn more about the Accelerator program. And most importantly, if you purchase now, not only do you get to tap in from the ground floor, so we'll actually be building our activation plans together, but you will also be able to lock in 50% off the monthly cost, and that'll be indefinite. So you'll be able to continue on year after year at that low price. We're not going to offer this again at this price, so I hope that you'll hop on board and join us for that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for joining us for the Live Free Now show, bringing the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live a free, prosperous, and healthy life. I'm John Bush. I'm dedicated to helping you create greater freedom, prosperity, and community in your life. If you just joined us randomly and you're not part of our daily email newsletter, I encourage you to join us at livefree.academy/email, livefree.academy/email. Till next time, folks, stay free out there. I hope you'll consider joining us tonight. It's the 25th, and at midnight tonight, we're closing the cart. You won't be able to join the membership until later down the road, and it most definitely won't be at this 50% off price. So if you're on the fence, definitely join now. Appreciate you guys. If you have any questions about the membership also, you can text us or give us a call at 512